How's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at a new HX Effects pedalboard with outboard pedals for 2022 that I intend to use while I go out gigging with my originals band called Kampala, which you can see here. And we've just recorded our first two singles, and we're going to be doing a lot of gigging in the coming months. So that's what this pedalboard is for. So before we get into it, please like and subscribe. And the first thing I would like to do is show you what it sounds like in a track. So here you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to throw some photographs of the unit up on screen, or the board I should say, and just explain to you how everything's wired and what everything does. Okay, so the HX Effects is the main brain of the unit. I use it to both operate in pedalboard mode for home recording, and then I use it in preset mode per song, and then 4 snapshots within each preset per song. So for snapshot for the verse, chorus, bridge, and end, etc. And it is the main brains of everything, right? Plugged into it then, from my main distortion sound, I have the Bogner Ecstasy Blue, which I leave on all the time and bring in and out with the loop switcher. And then in the other loop, I have the Distortion micro from Pigtronics for a muff kind of sound. And then I have the Pigtronics Fuzz for a more old school sort of Velcro-y fuzz kind of sound. And then on the other side of the board, you'll see the Sonic Cake Vol Wah, which is a volume in a wah pedal. It sounds great. It's really small. And beside it then a Donner Expression pedal, which I have plugged into the HX Effects, which I use for various different things. And that's how the whole thing works. It's all powered by the K-Line P1 power supply, which is amazing, right? Because that P1 can power the HX Effects quietly and all of the relative pedals. There's a video about that power supply and its use in this application, which you can see in the corner of the screen now. And then the whole thing is wired with a set of solderless patch cables, which I know everybody swears against, but I've used them on all my boards and I never have any problems. So there you go. That's the pedalboard. I think obviously the thing we need to do now is hear it in action. So let's take a listen to some sounds. Okay, so for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to be playing two guitars, right? That I use for recording originals at home. And this is the 60s Telecaster, which I've done a demo of, and you can see on my channel. It's a Mex Telecaster, and that's what I use for single coil sounds. And then I have my 72 thin line, which is twin wide range humbuckers. I'll show you that in a while. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've already gone through the pedals and what loops are in and everything, so I'm just going to get started now and show you how everything works. So on the HX Effects, I have 6 switches up on this first patch at the moment, and the purpose of this patch is to basically write sounds as I need them when I'm writing or recording songs, right? So I'll get into another 4 patches in a minute, which are broken up into snapshots for live performance. But this is for if I'm writing a new song, or even if I'm taking one of the existing songs and making patches for live, right? So what I've got is, I've got the Fuzz and the Bogner, which is loop 1 and loop 2, and the effects loops in the back. I've got a Minotaur, which is obviously a clone. I've got a Bias Trem, a 70s chorus, and a Cosmos Echo. And they're the effects that I have assigned to foot switches, and then I have the reverb, the Glitz reverb, assigned to the expression pedal, and then obviously this is a volume pedal. Which, by the way, with the reverb pedal, which is really handy, so I don't need a switch for the reverb. I just have it. I have it permanently on. I just use the expression pedal to bring it out. I don't use the expression pedal for anything else in this setting. So, I'm playing, by the way, through the Koch Studio Tone 20 on the clean channel, and here is the sound with absolutely nothing on. Okay, so I tell a lie. I have a Rochester comp on, right? So, back pickup. Middle setting. Next setting. So Rochester comp brings everything forward a little bit and makes everything a bit more present. Okay, so starting with the Bogner, which is my main drive sound. So okay. And while with the Bogner, I can also turn on the boost. One thing I will say, obviously, is the Bogner is unique and it has the ability to plug a TRS cable in and switch either the boost or the actual pedal itself on individually. It's part of the reason I bought the pedal, but to be honest, the switching, the relay switching that's available from the amp control jack on the HX Effects is so bad in the way that it's designed that it's actually basically useless. I'll probably make another video about this. It can do it, but you can't rely on it to switch between pedal being on or boost being on a snapshot basis or a preset basis. And it's very, very complicated to try and explain. So I'll make another video about that. So right now, I just have the pedal plugged in. I'm not using the TRS switching, and if I want the boost, I simply just turn it on. Okay, so that's the Bogner. Okay, and then we move to the Fuzz. So I'm going to start with the Distortion, which is my muff kind of sound. So that's what I use for big, huge, heavy distortion sounds, as opposed to even like driven amp sounds. It's a different thing. It's like a muffy, heavy distortion sound. Okay, if I want a more old school kind of Fuzz sound, I use the Fuzz. One thing with this is you have to turn off the compressor when you're using that Fuzz. I'm just going to turn it off. such a brilliant fuzz because it can be gnarly or you can use it for distorted tones. It's really just a brilliant fuzz. It even cleans up reasonably. So that's the fuzz. Next I'll show you the Minotaur. So this is the clone. So off. I'll put the compressor back on. So I use that for pushed mid-range sounds. So. That's the Minotaur. Okay, so then the other modulation and delay effects. So just bringing the I'll bring the bias trem in first. So this just is a bias tremolo. Has a kind of what's that new tremolo that everybody's talking about? Harmonic tremolo kind of vibe to it. A little bit of pitch going on. It's really great sounding tremolo. And then I have a 70s chorus. The chorus, and then lastly I have pretty full on double echo from the Cosmos Echo, which is a tape echo, actually a space echo specifically kind of sound. So you can tap that in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I really want to get spacey, I can bring that big glitz reverb in. So yeah, that's the preset that allows me really all the creativity I need and the sound I need to be able to program a preset for a Kampala song. If I'm writing it, or like I said, if I'm programming a preset into this board using, or for an existing song. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back out to preset mode and go up to this bank, which has the 4 songs that are already programmed in, okay? So it starts off with a song called Perfect. One thing about the HX effects that really annoys me, it's incredibly difficult to switch from bank mode to snapshot mode. I'm going to try it. I bet you it'll work now when I try to do it with my foot. No, it doesn't. It's really, really, really hard to do. No. I kind of feel, to be honest, like I have to try and do it with my my hand. Now, okay, so this song is kind of a rock song, and I use my other guitar for it, so give me a second, I'm going to switch to my other guitar. Okay, so this is the first song that we play in our set, and it's a bit of a heavier song, so I'm using my humbucker guitar. The first preset, or the first snapshot I should say, is the distortion, which is the Bogner, an Adriatic delay and a glitz reverb that's not on the pedal, right? It's just at a preset amount. And it sounds like this. I'm going to tune quickly. Okay, so here's the riff that opens the song. And then during the verses it kind of simplifies into. Then we come to the chorus part where I hit the second snapshot chorus and it turns on the Minotaur and sounds like. And the delay. This is where this really shines above the MS3's. Delays and reverbs are just far superior. We come to the middle eighth section. So it turns off the clon and turns on a rotary, and it sounds like this. And then we come to the end of the song, where it turns off the rotary, turns back on the clon, and for the end section, by the way, the Bogner's on the whole time. It sounds like this. Okay, so then the next preset we go to is a song called You, here. And this is quite complex, right? So in the first snapshot, I'm going to go into snapshots now. In the first snapshot, there is a .8 delay, and it sounds like this. Back pickup. And a glitz reverb, by the way. Actually, no, it's a plate reverb. And at this point, the delay gets turned off when the band comes in and a timed tremolo comes on. It sounds like this. Now, at that point, you can hear there's a pretty strong compressor on, and that's to keep the tremolo kind of constantly going, right? So when I go into the riff part of the song, the muff fuzz gets turned on, and the tremolo and .8 delay get turned off, and it gets replaced by a lower in the mix quarter note delay, and it sounds like this. And you can really hear the quality of that plate reverb and the quality of the delay. It's really submersive. It's great. And then the rest of the song is played on this chorus preset, which is just a plate delay and a, I think again, quarter note, a plate reverb, as I say, and a quarter note delay, and it sounds like. What I really love about this rig, I have to say at this point, is at any point if I get to a gig and say the amp's gainier, I can just turn down the gain on the pedal and it's turned down across every preset. And that's why I use, same with obviously the fuzzes either. I can change the settings on them and they're changed to be consistent across every preset without having to go in and individually change inboard effects on every preset, which is why I use this setup, which is a multi-effects unit with gain pedals plugged in. So that's you. There's 2 more songs I want to show you. Okay, so the third song is called Lonely Lives. It's a much cleaner song. There's very little distortion in the song. It's mainly about the clean tone of the guitar, and I'm using, again, single coils. So if I go into the snapshot mode, I've definitely sussed that now. You hit one and then the other as opposed to hitting the 2 together. We start off with the intro. It's a delay, a reverb, and a compressor, and the delay is in a dotted 8 time, and the reverb is the glitz reverb, and it sounds like this. Okay, and the riff goes like this. And really, it's all about the quality of the delay and reverb in that song. And the clean sound is lovely, and the delay and reverb just give it such presence and character. So then moving on to the chorus, it stays exactly the same, except the clong gets turned on for the chorus part. Which we went to the bridge part, phaser gets turned on. And then for the end, we keep the same sound, but the Bogner gets turned on, so it's. Again, 4 pretty radically different sounds, all available with the touch of a switch. And I will say at this point too, if I found that the delay, for example, wasn't enough mix or wasn't enough feedback, so if I go back to intro, great thing about the HX effects, so I just go into this delay here, and I just go into the feedback, the third knob, turn it up, and I get more feedback. So I noticed there was only 1 repeat there, where there should have been 2 when I was going. Now there's a few more, and I just think it sounds a bit better. So we're on to the last song now. Okay, so the last song is called Progress. And if I go into the snapshots, so there's only 2 snapshots in this, a verse and a chorus, and they're the only 2 snapshots that are used throughout the whole song. So the first one, this tune has a very 80s kind of vibe to it. So it has a chorus. And the verse part starts off with a kind of a thumb pattern, really, really lightly. Then when the band comes in, a riff comes in and it goes. Really love what the compressor does to the front end of the note there. It makes playing that kind of picked, plonky kind of riff really stay constant and present the whole time. It's brilliant. You get into the chorus, it's the same, it just turns the clone on. Then it gets into the heavier parts of the song. That's it, 2 presets. Again, just so handy with the HX effects, and the quality of the reverb, the delay, and the chorus are all gorgeous. So yeah, that's how I use my new HX effects pedalboard for going out playing live and writing and recording at home. So there you go. It's my new HXFX pedal board that I intend to use for gigging and also still use for writing and recording at home. I think it sounds really, really good, and I think the functionality is as much as I need it to be in the situation that I'm in with the Originals band, which is just switching between snapshot, 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 snapshot in per part per song, and then using a preset per song. For live anyway. It works really, really well. I will say that I still maintain that the switching options in a cover band situation where you're using less presets and want those presets to be more flexible, the MS3 is far superior. But the sounds are undeniably like leagues ahead on the HXFX, which is why I chose to use it for the Originals band. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you're still watching, I thank you for staying with me this long. And I guess I'll see you in another video again soon. All right, take it easy. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.